Well, hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime. It's your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League, coming to you courtesy of San Diego Punto Football with Tony Sanchez. Craig Elston here with you. Season 7, Episode 7, pair of sevens, titled New Turf, Who Dis? Hope you updated your contacts, Front Wave Arena. Things looking spiffy in the navy and white. Tony, how you going tonight?
I am doing very well tonight, just enjoying the blues as much as we can, right? Usually that's a type of music that gets you in a sad mood, but I think we're feeling a little bit different. The other side of the blues.
Yes, the Azules. Instead. That's where we are today. We got a good one for you tonight. Very excited to present the program. Here's what's on the show tonight. Soccers and Savage go toe-to-toe in a home and home. That means we've got a double stack of highlights for you from Chihuahua and San Diego. We do have a special guest tonight. Defender Ben Raymond will stop by at 6:30. We'll see if he's as good deflecting questions as he is at blocking shots. Hopefully not. In MASL news, we've got an all-star recap, and we've got a question. Are the Soccers doing too well for their own good? It's kind of a would you rather. We'll get into it a little bit later. And in Soccers news, we've got a match preview. We've also got a Star Wars night kit reveal. Look out. Star Wars night approaches against the wave. An exclusive. We have been snuck the copy we're rushing to post before anyone can tell us no. It's all ahead on Soccer's Overtime. Great to be here. Don't forget, while you're here, please do us a favor and give the old show the thumbs up. Please subscribe to San Diego Punto Football. Subscribe button right there, free to do. And click the little bell for notifications, so that you know every time Tony and Chiva go live, Tony and Chiva and Ben go live, or Soccer's Overtime goes live. Please help out these guys working hard to cover San Diego football, because, Tony, if you don't do it, I think as the very influential K-Dot said, somebody's got to do it.
Somebody got to do it. 100%. That's really the name of the game, what we've been doing for a long time, and glad we expanded into San Diego Soccers as well, for sure. But let me tell you, this is a very intense week in the sport in the city of San Diego. It's a blessing to have, and I'm really enjoying this space that we've been able to carve out at San Diego Football to welcome all the San Diego Soccers fans and MASL fans across. I've also noticed that uptick at a certain time in the channel. I'm like, and Soccer's Overtime heads this MASL news. More people, okay. Just looking at the numbers in the background, I'm like, very interesting. The map also in the states where it kind of
makes you wonder.
All the analytics.
Well, the analytics, they never lie, right? Do they? Maybe. Here we go. It was the weekend. Just off the top, Tony, I don't know. I'd like to know your reaction. My reaction to the weekend is it's the weekend we expected. It's at least the weekend I expected. I didn't expect the lineup I saw for San Diego in Chihuahua. I didn't know or expect that at all. When I saw it, I was surprised. And when I saw the result, I was not surprised. And then neither was I particularly surprised about Sunday, although I think it must be said that not only is it a matter of putting Chihuahua on different turf and a larger space, but the Soccers also played a very good and very solid all-around game on Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it briefly in mentioning, Brandon Escoto and his participation, perhaps, of one different element that's going to throw off the Soccers, or whether or not you're going to put somebody who's not in form or has built chemistry so far this year with one player, and how difficult that was going to be over in Corner Sport Arena, let alone a good handful of players who have not had those same reps, those same runs. And I mean, the result at the end is still L in the column on after Friday night, a bloody Valentine in a very different way. But I think coming back home and being able to, I was trying to find a different idiom to circle the wagons. I really was. Just a little behind the scenes, that little blur. I was like, what is another thing? Is there something in Spanish? But no, that's perfectly encapsulated in that. And San Diego did exactly that. They came back and took it to Chihuahua and once again proved to themselves, I believe, more importantly than anybody else, that Chihuahua is still a scary team, but if you play them intelligently with intensity and integrity to the San Diego Sockers way, I think you can beat Chihuahua on any given Sunday, any given day, any given place, unless it's Corner Sport Arena, because man, that is tough.
Let's roll in the first set of highlights, knowing that we got Ben Raymond coming up. The Sockers and the Savage, Brandon Escoto in the lineup, Ismael Rojo in the lineup. Hey, look, they'll team up on the first goal of the match. Lovely to see. And of course, Churras has been around the team, has been playing on Sockers too, and has been stuck in visa hell, the same place Juan Manuel Rojo is, same place Ismael Rojo is, and Luis Perez, all those guys making their season debut for the Sockers, but players who have been a part of past trainings. It always seems like the ball is on a magnet at Corner Sport to find their guys in space, and they're the best. Chihuahua in that space. It just look at that right there. Shooting the ball first time out of the air. Now, Tavoy Morgan fights back for 2-1. Lovely, muscular goal. Solo effort for Tavoy. He would be a point of focus naturally as the match went on and got more physical. But at this brief moment, 3 minutes and a half in, it's 2-1 San Diego. And you're wondering, new lineup, all these guys in, not to mention Terry Munoz brought in as reserve keeper. Of course, right there, wide open at the back post. 2-2. Not sure if there's anything Xavier is supposed to be able to do about that. Man is undefended, essentially down low. Some ball watching, a lot of guys staring at the air. This is where the whole game falls apart. One set piece goal after another, Tony, and never necessarily properly set up or defended, always giving somebody, like right here, plenty of space. Now, with that, a great shot by Tovar, I believe, at the finish here. Yes, it is. A man who did not have a great finish to his weekend, but a great goal right there. Again, no defense, set piece awarded, goal. It almost seems like the goal's double wide in Chihuahua. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure, I know it's not, but it always feels like it's twice as wide. Someone's always open. There it is. Boom, goal.
Yeah, and the power in which Chihuahua always puts their shots on target, it's going to create chaos if it doesn't end up being on target or parried. It's going to be a goal, or you're going to get a rebound that's unpredictable. And for the most part, we say unpredictable, but this is really a skill that can be worked on, just predicting the rebounds. But this is something that, as you mentioned, the set pieces just killed San Diego.
I mean, if you watch that, it's equivalent to an NBA team where you're late on your rotations, you're late on your chase. Everyone was a step behind. The ball got swung around, swing, open three. You know what I mean? That's what it is in basketball. Right there, it was swing, open shot. Here we go again. How about open the wall? Wall with a door open, and into the net goes the ball, 5-2. Almost every single one of these goals is the same, Tony.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, there's no real point of adjusting when Chihuahua just smells blood in the water. They're going to attack, and that's exactly what they did. They took that specialty of the night, and, as much as Phil wants to tell them, hey, do this, do that, do this, adjust, you're already 6-2 down. And at that point, it's a moral just victory that Chihuahua was just parading over. And with the luck, right, a deflection by Cardenas into the net of the Sockers right there. It's unfortunate. It's a combination of everything going wrong. Even Cesar Cerda not choosing to go earlier to try to defend that pass.
Of the 7 goals, there's one that, it's a power play against, and it's a literally inch perfect shot. Escalante's in the corner, left foot into the left corner. Perfect. So 7-2. Now, here's where things get chippy.
Yeah.
Costa right into the face of a dude in the 4-row deep stands. The kind of ball you never see that goes out. Obviously, he didn't intend it. He intended to hit the low wall, but he missed. And I think you get why the Chihuahua players are upset here.
Yeah, you really got to show face for your fan base as well. That's there and really almost have an excuse to rile things up once again and ignite things. Being good sport about it. Commentary team had was giving play by play on the team from Savage, checking on the individual. Good job, you guys. Hopefully, it never doesn't happen at Front Wave. But either way, like this is just a moment. Yeah,
and then look at what happens. Shortly to follow.
Yep.
And this is the kind of thing that, honestly, if you've ever been a part of any of these rivalries, you understand. It's a thing that's going to come up. It's a very hockey-esque play, but that was an absolute takeout by Chihuahua. And now look at this. Another ball shot in. One guy, you get Tavoy with a nudge on the man by the net. We see this. Okay. Bump. Okay. Oh, delayed reaction and then shoved down. Everyone's an actor. Everyone's a villain. Everyone's a victim. Rojo victimizes that ball. Boy, I miss him in the league. It sucked that he was playing against us. It sucks he can only play in a game or so for us, but he truly is one of the best.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, like this game is set and done, but Chihuahua again having their way and will lure players into situations that could potentially lead them to potentially get suspended, or that's the play as well. Keeping that in mind to keep that intensity up, because hey, if you can get yourself Tavoy on a red, you don't face him here at home. So that's definitely a strategy as well that has to be kept in mind.
Yes. And as you saw, there was a behind the play Mendez maybe elbow on that run up the field that wasn't called. Here's at 7-4, Sockers go for sixth attacker, and watch how quickly this diffuses. Not real shot, turns one touch shooting. I'm telling you, the Savage have this ability at Corner Sport to just see the ball in the air and poke it at the. Look at that. How many times do you see that shot actually curve in on that? The way it is shot out of midair. Romero, left-footed. Brilliant. Crazy. Ball on a magnet. Sockers get one late. Mendez appropriate response. Just go back to the bench. Cool. 8-5. Game ends at that score. 8-5 Chihuahua. So I think I don't know. There's got to be a way theoretically to defend Chihuahua at home.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, it was lost on set piece defense. First and foremost, it was lost on set piece goals, a run of basically 5 goals in a row that were all set pieces, that were all variations of the exact same thing, just abusing the Sockers wall setup, either finding the wide open space that they provided and shooting through it, or waiting for that to be created, or just passing around it and seeing the guys be very slow to rotate, very slow to get to position, and having the open shot at the end of it. And it was an abusing of a defense. You could make an argument. Would the veteran keeper Pardo have him set up better than Xavier? Maybe. Is the defensive captain out there on the floor? Yes. Serta's out there on all those plays. He's out of position on half of them.
Yeah.
When you watch the film. So, Cardenas knocks in a goal. That's another one of your top defenders. He deflects a goal into his own net. There's a lot of soccer's mistakes that are happening in that game. And while we're seeing that those are still really the key players that are out there. So you can't blame, Yon Ponce or Escoto, for these goals allowed. Those guys are out there doing the best they can. I do believe, Tony, that when you have a mercenary lineup, and there's some guys there, Pollo, Big Rojo, obviously Churras, that have long-term ties to the Sockers, that you'd expect to play well for the Sockers. Some of these other guys are getting a paycheck for the only time of the year or second to only time of year to play a game, kind of a hired gun, play a game situation. You can't practice together. They're not coming north of the border. That's just show up and play. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Chihuahua, I'm going to take my chances in that situation every single time. You can bring every single dude from Monterey that's unsigned and put them in Sockers uniforms, and put them next to, our 6 best guys. And I don't think it's as much of an advantage gained as it seems, people on the outside would think that it is, because those players haven't played together. They don't have the shield to play for in their hearts. They're playing a game. And again, it's not a knock on them. No one did anything wrong. Ponce got an assist. Escoto got an assist. Rojo had 2 goals. These guys were doing the very best they could, obviously. But if you thought like, magic dust, sign a lineup, they're going to win, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in Chihuahua. No chance.
Yeah, no. Chihuahua's going to be prepared every single time for anything. But the best thing that Chihuahua does is just stick to their game. They know what's successful at Corner Sport Arena. They know that regardless of whoever it may be, Tacoma's done the best job at Corner Sport in having defensive showcases in a losing effort 4-1. But at the end of the day, Chihuahua does the best thing for them in just sticking to who and what they are at Corner Sport Arena. We can once again just say, hey, these bounces are just, you never know where the ball's going to ricochet. But again, you can really calculate these things. These athletes have such accuracy with their toes, and really you can see the minutia in their detail moving forward in a little bit later to Sunday, where you see how they're taking in a new turf, a new blade of grass, a new, just the little things that really matter, where for them it's slowing the game down. They can experience it that way. But for the viewer, it's just boom, boom, boom. It can be a little bit just fortuitous in a lot of different ways. But Sockers need to be more prepared for this situation, because they might face another opportunity to go down there and where it really actually matters. And you really can't risk that if you're the Sockers.
Well, and having said, it's a strategy that I don't think is often going to be successful. I do want to note, for the record, before we're just like, oh, boo Sockers, that Charlie can't go down there. Leo can't go down there. Yeah. Apparently Keiko's visa, he can't go down there. There's a set of players on this team that can't go to Mexico, or can't go to Mexico more than once in the course of their work visas in a year. And because of that, then it's a question of who do you replace them with, right? Like, we chatted to Felipe Gonzalez on Sunday. He's not ready to come back. He's fighting his way back from injury, and it could be maybe playoffs, maybe not. There's other guys who have been banged up. Is it necessary? Yeah, you could have sent Craig down, obviously. That's a guy that was more of a strategic sit. You could have sent Boris down. Terry Munoz played quite well in the second half. I guess that would be the other question, is like, given that you had him south of the border, given that he's been a Savage for multiple years, would it have been a wise strategy simply to start him? He might have known exactly where all of those set piece plays were coming from and would be better able to set up the defense against.
Yeah, and he's had incredible performances at Corner Sport Arena in high pressure situations. Thinking of when Bernabal Lovinos just couldn't go due to injury, he stepped in and was fantastic in that space and time. And it's a familiar territory for him. But it was just, I guess, we found out. The questions were asked by the Sockers. Hey, can we do this? Can we hire? What's going to happen? Well, this is what's going to happen. You got an 8-5. ¿Cuánto fue?
Yeah, 8-5.
8-5. Yeah, 8-5 game. Where you still get the loss. You find some things out about the team. You find some chemistry that needs to be built. But hopefully, it's a learning experience. And again, it was expected. This result was expected. You didn't know the scoreline exactly, but I'd be hard pressed to think of anybody who was really thinking that the Sockers are going to go and just absolutely blow the doors out of quarter sport.
Yeah, I guess that was the only point I was making, not to critique it. I think it's natural. If you can't bring your best, some of your best guys down, you've got these other guys you could sign to play. You can sign them first, and then they're not playing against you potentially, at the end of the year. I get it. It's probably not going to happen against anyone else, so scooping them up matters. They've had this chance to play together. They're going to get one more coming up in, later in the month, right? So we'll see, because there very well may need to be a third opportunity to go down there. And that third opportunity would be in a Ron Newman Cup final. So, it's difficult, bring up some of the younger guys. Okay. Is that going to change the result to the better? I don't think so. It's kind of dealing with with the cards you have and the cards you don't have. That's the biggest thing. If you had a full strength lineup and the opportunity, not to worry about it, but then you got to go to our second recap as we cycle forward, because now you've got fresh legs. Also, you get the return of Taylor Bond, and you get this brand new turf. Well, first right away, there's the fresh legs of Pardo. Nice kick save, as it seemed like the ball got stuck in the turf on the initial play. Pardo put to the test right away again. Really solid deflection by Cesar Ruiz. Could have been a goal. Pardo, great positioning. Always well positioned is Diego Reynoso.
And also, it's just incredible. It's just really fun to watch him. And the stature that he has is not very imposing, but you know what? He's everywhere at all times.
Forward to Gallegos and back and forth action. Pardo up to it again. Just huge defense being played by San Diego early in this match. And then Gabby Costa gets to work. Bounces one wide. It deflects. Drew knows exactly where to put it. Just an instinctive play right there for a couple guys playing together in their second year together. Drew Ruggles and Gabby Costa for 1-0.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about building chemistry and expecting, a mercenary lineup to build that chemistry perhaps on one game. No, like these are some of the players that have been here for 15 at least games this season and last season, and they're barely kind of getting to this point where it's like, oh, it's seamless. They know exactly where it's supposed to be, but it took a while. This takes some time to build, but I love seeing Ruggles being able to anticipate that.
Reynoso on the toss out here. And is this where we had the replay? Yes. Yeah, this is the clubbing on Tavoy. That's the real one right there. The first one swung and missed. The second one finally got him.
He got away with it for a little bit, but then, he got a little bit too greedy. And yeah, the clubbing blow. You can't do that.
Another opportunity for San Diego. Reynoso once again, just like ninja-like, like old ninja-like, right? Like he's the aged ninja.
Just a wise veteran, just being able to, it's like a Yoda almost, in theme to Star Wars night, but yeah.
Then the power play against for San Diego, and clinical finish for Chihuahua to tie the match. What a defensive affair at this point, 20 minutes in and 1-1, and it takes special teams to get Chihuahua on the board.
Yeah, and you definitely have to keep that concentration, as well as the Sockers were doing, as we'll see the rest of the match as well. On defense, it was an all-out just team effort once again, especially on the offensive side, where you're going to need to keep up with the firepower that Chihuahua is going to bring, because they are going to go ahead and bring it. They have such great fitness with their players and a great play once again. Just they know how to play defense. They don't just know how to play offense, Chihuahua, but they can play some great stellar defense. But here, Charlie, better defense.
Charlie, the track back on this play is what matters so much. Tavoy has a beautiful settle. He has a great finish. This finish is critical, and you pay finishers for a reason. But Charlie Gonzalez had manufactured a great scoring chance that got shrugged away by Diego, and he tracked all the way back down the field, to steal the ball. He didn't just come back to just kind of jog back. He came back with purpose. He stole the ball back at midfield, and he generated this goal for 2-1. Great hustle play by Charlie Gonzalez.
Yeah, Charlie Gonzalez, Charlie Golazo, Charlie Hustle. Carlangas, Carlos Hustle. I'll go with that.
Horrible news right here. Not that the Sockers get this penalty kick, but that Eric Tovar, and you watch it again, he just gets inadvertently clipped at the end of that. And that's how he winds up hurting his knee. Childs finishes it like a finisher can, from the spot especially. Basically, if you position your shot, if you hit it, it's impossible to stop.
Yeah, for a goalkeeper, that's the worst. If it hits side netting or top netting, there's nothing for you to do. That's literally what goalkeepers say. There's nothing for you to do. Good try. Made it look nice.
Drew Ruggles hilariously asking for the man who pulls the blue card to immediately review his call. The answer was, yes, you did 2 foot. However, Soccer's defense, there's Ben Rabin, who's about to come on the show. Spectacular heading the ball away. Boris really, really solid all night in net. And this play just delightful. Gutierrez. Oh, am I out of the play? Double team? Nope. How about a no-look side Wallace score, a setup, and played through Serta to Costa to Morgan, basically walking the ball into the net on the far post for 4-1.
And again, it seems like Morgan is really lighting it up against Chihuahua, especially here at home, and doing some vintage Morgan moves as well. And that great positioning. And again, just a great team effort, team play, the great triangulation. Everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be. Morgan barely gets there and just slides it in. And that's a great effort all around.
I think decent chance that ball goes in if he's not there.
Yeah.
But it might be post out. It might be. Now, you think you have 5-1 right away after as Mendes steals it. Now he's coming in bare on the defender. Morales didn't have the time to think to be able to put it to the far side and settle. He went one time. Good block there by Chihuahua. Fourth quarter. More great. The Sockers used solid pressure throughout. But now down on the floor, a blue card shown. And this is where, again, defense reigns supreme for San Diego. Not only here, but then later on a superpower play, really holding the fort. Oh, boy, how about the tear on Morgan's jersey?
Yeah. How'd that get there?
Yeah, I wonder how that happened. I wonder what's going on. Soccer's power play. I mean, this is the most basic of plays, honestly. Wide open, parallel run, center and score.
And it's good to see the easy things, the simple things, the things that should work. There's been plenty of times where Sockers have found themselves in this situation, just can't that ball be through the net. But it's good to see these simple steps being able to be successful and yield goals.
How about that? Whoop, whoop. And back the other way and goal. Really well done right there. For the 5-2 score. If nothing else, you just got to give him credit for a job well done.
Yeah, no. And even here, 5-2, it's getting nervous. Like there's still no comfort whatsoever with Chihuahua at any point. At any
big
point.
Save. Yeah, right there. Pardo, big save on a set piece.
Hmm.
Block shots were showing up often on Sunday night. Raymond, big block shots. Serta, big block shots. You're seeing them in this run of play. Boris, very brave out there. Really solid game from Boris Pardo. Outstanding game from Boris. And so in those aspects, you have to talk about the strategy that we're maligning on Friday, paying off on Sunday. And maybe it's a pretty darn good strategy after all. This sends Gutierrez to the box. Super power play. Sockers kill it. Kill the game. 5-2. Final score.
It was a great game. The Sockers, I think, again, as we say, like, in maybe an apologetic sense of like, hey, you did this on Friday, but then you did this on Sunday because of Friday, and so you kind of have to weigh that whole weekend out. And I think it's a net positive what the Soccer's got, especially after a great performance from a lot of different players. It wasn't a one player just overtaking and dominating in the match. It was good defense, good offense, good goalkeeping, good strategy, good teamwork, good work rates that really showed out. It was a fantastic, fantastic game for the San Diego Sockers. Hopefully, they can keep replicating these.
Well, if you can win at home and you can guarantee that you're going to win at home, you'll make it to the finals because the Sockers are en route to make the playoffs. So if you can win 2 single elimination games at home, even if they're back to back, you have the chance to be in the finals. You know you will be. You'll be in the finals, and you'll either be home for game 1 or you're going to be on the road for game 1 and coming home for game 2. So that is still to be determined as the year goes on. But the fact that the Sockers continue to make Front Wave Arena a difficult place for opponents to play, and in particular defensively, it augurs well for the club's success going forward. Now, that being said, you play the toughest teams and you'll play the fittest teams and the most sharply coached teams and the deepest teams come Ron Newman Cup playoff time. And the one exception to that is there could be a single elimination upset in the opening round that upsets in your favor. You never know because it's just one game. No one gets that safety net. A couple of different clubs, including one's very close to us, had to use that third game in the opening round in recent years. So, worth considering.
I did speak with Boris after because I was curious. Again, talking about this blue elephant in the room in a positive way, the new turf. Because I was genuinely curious about the boxes and the visibility of the ball, of the white ball inside of that white box. And fortunately for Boris, he didn't even put that as a thought. He was like, "Nope, I saw everything fine." It might have been Boris just being Boris and not wanting to give anything, but at the end of the day, I have confidence that at least for this game in a high intensity match, it was a non-factor. Whether or not aesthetically it looks however you like, it's fine. But at the end of the day, like it's good to know that that's not a factor going into a high intensity match here. So good on them, and I do believe Senor Benjamin is in waiting.
All right. Well, we've shown you all the highlights. 3 points for San Diego out of the 2 matches. Milwaukee coming up, and the Sockers still in second place going into the week in the MASL. Let's welcome on to the program in his second tour of duty with the San Diego Sockers, defender who was a very welcome presence in his return to the lineup on Sunday evening, Ben Raymond, back on Sockers Overtime here. What's going on, Ben? Great to see you. How are you been?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Doing really good.
Excelente. How are you?
Doing good.
Well, thanks a lot. And on behalf of the Sockers fans watching and all the MASL fans watching too, thanks a lot for spending a little time with us here today. Let's just start things off easily. Sunday, right? Back on the field for yourself for the Sockers big game, Circle the Wagons game. And as we just watched and went through on the film, you guys really put together an all-out defensive effort on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a great team effort. Players were, definitely motivated for that game, coming back from a tough road trip, and the coaching staff put together a great plan. The crowd at the arena gave us, an extra motivation, and it was an exciting game. It was a good, solid performance, start to finish, and we look to keep doing that type of game the rest of the season.
And you looked good out there. You and the team looked great and made the turf look really good as well. Can you take me through just playing on a new turf and what it means, maybe a challenge or maybe something, an added layer dimension when preparing for this match once you're getting out there? And what do you think about it?
Yeah, it was exciting. We've been, anticipating the new turf for a few weeks now. And it is a different surface to a lot of the fields in our league. It's definitely I would say a more comfortable surface. I think I saw you guys out there. It's a little softer of a footing. It'll take a little bit getting used to. Um, it may have slowed the speed of which we played slightly, and but it'll provide a little bit of a home field advantage, at least for this season and going into next season, where if we can really get a good understanding of how this field plays and the tendencies, the bounces. It'll be nice to have that as an asset as we move forward.
I remember being in Florida, Ben, when the Tropics put out their field for the first time. And the
Yep.
Sockers were one of the very first teams to play on it. And I remember the same thing happening that I saw happen on Sunday, where it's almost like you guys are playing on top of a snowdrift. Like the ball would stop
Yeah.
or wiggle a little bit because there'd be an upright part of the carpet, or it would just
Yep.
slow down where you thought it would go all the way. It only goes like, almost like you'd misread a putt going
Yeah.
uphill. It's like, I thought it was going to go a little further. And it just seemed like that's just one of those things until you guys literally trample it down.
That's exactly right. It's just reading a pass, anticipation of the ball coming to you is like a fraction off, which at the speed of MASL soccer can make a big difference. And, I think you saw a lot in the first quarter. And as the game, progressed, players got more acclimated to the surface, the speed of play. And, but there's still some moments where, you're like going into a challenge or anticipating reading a pass and it's just slightly different than what we're used to at that arena and at other surfaces across the league.
I like that. I mean, and part of the reason here is that Front Wave Arena is such a new venue, and you're mentioning it's special. But a team that is coming in, and you've been able to take care of them at this venue is Chihuahua Savage. But it does seem like the Savage are a little bit different compared to Savage Mexico in Chihuahua Corner Sport Arena. What are some of the differences in game that you notice from this team?
Yeah, I mean, but from our side of things, our being at our home field, it's definitely a fortress that we're looking to protect. Our fan base has really been great. Even me as my second stint with the group, not playing any home games back in 2021, it was amazing to see a lot of fans that I recognized, but they remembered my short time here and remembered me being a part of that group, and that was a special moment for me to reconnect with some of the fans. But I think we've welcomed a lot of new fans to the arena and to our sport, and they've really enjoyed it. So I think they have a similar feel to their space as well. Their crowd really gets behind them, and they're playing in front of their friends and family and community, and that adds another layer. But at the end of the day, when I think it comes to postseason or a different opportunity to play them in the regular season again, our group will be a little bit more experienced after playing there once before, and ready to get a better showing and a result down there at Chihuahua. Our group's more than capable, and I think throughout the season we'll be able to show that.
Yeah, well, you get one more opportunity, that's for sure. And
Yep.
I'm sure now that you're healthy and ready to go, that you're looking forward to being a part of that and that plan of attack. Now, how about just being back, man? Right, like you were with us in a year when you were playing in front of only road teams. You
Yep.
were wearing the team, but unless you watched, on a pay-per-view that year, it was hard to say that you saw Ben Raymond as a San Diego Soccer. Now you get a chance to actually be San Diego Soccer playing in San Diego in front of those Soccer's fans. I've just got to imagine it's made for a more fulsome experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And connecting with the players and staff again has been excellent. They welcomed me right back to the group, and that's the fun thing about this sport is it's a close knit community player wise. There's a lot of friendships and history between on and off the field, and then same with the fans. The players feel very connected to the fans, especially their home teams, but all throughout the league. It's a very community centric league, which has been exciting. And being back and more matriculated into the San Diego community has been exciting and something that was in the back of my head after I returned to New York from the 2021 season.
And you mentioned, right, like coming back and the teammates that really kind of embraced you back into the Soccers. Can you talk a little bit more about your defensive teammates as well? You got Ruggles, you got Cerda, you got, hey, I'm going to throw Boris in there. For me,
Yeah.
goalkeeper is the captain of the defense. They see everything. But tell me, what's that room like for defenders coming into it here with the Soccers?
There's a ton of experience in our defensive line, and every single one of those players takes a lot of pride in their defensive responsibility. But every single one of those players can really be effective on both ends of the field, and so now it's just learning each other's habits, tendencies, and utilizing each other's strengths defensively, whether it's on set pieces, special teams, or in the run of play. It'll really show, and I think you've seen it throughout the season when the group is there and everyone's available and things are clicking. We're a hard team to score on. Boris is a great goalie. X is one of the best up and coming goalies in the league. X is someone, he's playing and learning from one of the best goalies the last 10 years, and if he was at a different team in a different league, he probably would have started right away. He's a great up and coming goalie in this league. And but having Boris, his communication, Sarah, Mitchell, everyone that's in the back, it's a very experienced back line, and it helps set the tone for what we'd like to do defensively and motivate the players in front of us to also chip in. It's 5v5 plus a goalie, and everyone's got to do a role on both ends of the field, and if the defenders have that edge and attitude that we're not going to concede, then it trickles to the midfield and offense, and everyone buys in, and that's been good.
Well, to that extent, Ben, before we let you go, obviously the Soccers are always about one thing, that's winning the title. It's a different playoff format that this year. And as they go to a one venue host single elimination 8-team format, just so happens the host is Front Wave Arena. That works out well for the San Diego Soccers. You guys have clearly not taken the regular season lightly, knowing that all you'd have to do is be in the top 8 to have home field, in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. That's obviously great for all of us, but you're a great team. So,
Yep.
bar's up here to begin with, in terms of what we expect from this club. But going forward, like, what are your thoughts on how this club prepares to try and face that gauntlet and take it down to win the championship? You just faced the Bicampeones,
Yep.
over the weekend. Milwaukee coming in, Utica, your former team, Baltimore. There's a lot of Kansas City. There's a lot of worthy combatants.
Yeah, this league, especially this season, more than a few of the previous years, there's been more parity, and I think the top 6 teams are quite competitive. On any given day, there's teams that can upset, some of the better or more established teams in the league, and so it's not taking any game lightly. It's not taking any training session lightly, and Phil and Cheeky and the staff have done a really good job of creating, a training environment and culture that is focused on the end goal of winning a championship. So it's in the back of our minds, but we're still going one game at a time, realizing that, come early April, I believe playoff kicks off, that, players are healthy in the right mental space, and the chemistry of the group is in the right direction to really accomplish our goals, which is to win a championship.
Well, it is great to have you back in the fold, my friend. We are looking forward to Saturday, another reunion of sorts for you as the Milwaukee Wave come to town, Star Wars night. And in our chat, I'd just like to pass along that a longtime noted Soccers fan, Kelsey Marsh, who famously wore a Soccers jersey to a Wave match previously, will be in town for this
Awesome.
weekend. So, I mean, I think the only right thing to do is to make sure she has another Soccers jersey to wear for the match on Saturday. I mean, that would only be the appropriate thing, I think, to do in that circumstance. Wouldn't you agree, Ben?
I agree. She might get some stick from the Milwaukee players, but that it'd be great to have her wearing a Soccers jersey, and she's more than welcome to cheer us along and enjoy the game. Front Wave Arena has been fantastic, and the crowd's been great as well.
Well, we'll just have to see how that particular drama plays out on Saturday. But they wanted me to turn it on you, and I'm like, no, I'm going to turn it right back on you, Kelsey.
Awesome.
Right back on you, Ben. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. It's always great when we get the chance to chat. Hope to see you at the match on Saturday, and best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of the night. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben Raymond. Oh, Kelsey says she's leaving all of her Sockers jerseys in Illinois. That's fine because there's going to be another one waiting for you.
The Sockers family will take care of you, or Sockers Nation.
Yes. I mean, at the very least, I'm going to make sure I put one in my backpack,
just in case.
Just to have a spare. Yeah. Have a spare. I've got like that Paul Ryder, Gene Wilrich jersey. Got a few extras. How about a Pardo? No, I got a Toth. I've got a Toth. That's what I've got. Zoltan, not.
El original.
Not trying to start squabble up here. Zoltan Toth. So disowned by who? Kelsey, I think more like betrothed to Soccer's fandom. Disowned. I don't think no one can own you, Kelsey. You're a free human being. You're a free human being. No one can own you. So everyone should disown. I mean, in theory, abandon all material. Goal. Go read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. It was, revolutionary in its time. That time was the 1920s, but it was revolutionary in its time. Anyways, we digress again. Okay, great interview, Ben Raymond. Yeah.
Now I'm being disowned. All right.
That's what?
That's fine.
What happened?
No, but Ben Raymond, I'm glad that he's getting the due from the fan base and really just that recognition of his hard work, right? Like he's been a top defender for the Sockers and really been put into the mix in very important moments. I can remember there was a moment where Cesar Cerda got himself a blue card taken out of the match, and you know what? I need somebody step in, and he did it incredibly well in a moment, and has been answering the bell every single time. So, one of the most important Sockers players so far this season on defense specifically, Ben Raymond. So good to hear from him.
Absolutely. All right, let's turn our eyes to MASL news. And I guess we start with there it is. Eyes have been turned. MASL news. Start with an all-star recap. All-star night, Wednesday night. They had a skills contest. Chris Paul wasn't there to try and mess with the rules, so it all went off according to plan. So that's good news on that. Then they played the game. There you see the odd in Utica. Yeah, hey, there we go. Team Kelvin, Team Pereira. I do like the light up ribbon board. I remember the first time Phil told me about the light up ribbon board, and I thought it sounded, I don't know, a little distracting, a little like maybe dangerous. Would it stand up to getting pounded? But I do kind of like it. Ooh,
I dig it.
Nice.
100%. Who else? Kelvin.
Yeah, Kelvin.
Just the Kelvin show.
I mean, Kelvin's just. Is Kelvin going to be in this league next year?
Oh, man, I've just enjoy him while he's in the league, is what I'll say, and then try to convince him any which way to stay, because he definitely makes this league so much better and so much fun to watch. And at the end of the day, it makes you more money because, look, again, half of Brazil's watching whenever he plays. Literally.
How can we make him a soccer? Would be the question I would usually ask. But Sockers have a lot of talent up front. It'd be a difficult situation. I'm not trying to throw anything out there. Hey, but the Lakers got Lucas, so anything's possible. Anything's possible. You never know. But it's just as possible that Kelvin gets like a permanent Kings League deal or something, and but if not, it's great for the league. He could single-handedly disrupt that playoff weekend when we're there, Tony, and win 2 games on his own.
Yeah. You talk about somebody who can just take control of a matchup and really put the talent, and not even just the talent, just really the discipline in order to go ahead and put that educated leg of his or just feet to good use. It's wonderful to see him play, and I don't want to be a team that plays against Kelvin Oliveira at any point in the playoffs, because it's a wild card. He himself is a wild card and will make you pay for any space that you allow. So you better be prepared for what he's about to bring. And even then, I don't think everybody's prepared for what he's been able to showcase so far.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. He's been a delight for the league to have a superstar come along. Interesting note that Eddie just put up there. He might even resolve the visa issues. Visibility of a player helping up the visibility of the league. Theoretically, maybe. If he stayed, maybe. If he left and went to a higher level, but then he's not there anymore. Brief word on this, just because I did see a lot of online, flip-flap about the topic. The reason why the MASL has such a visa issue, what do you think it is? It's not because they don't know how to fill out the paperwork. Yeah. It's not because they aren't trying to get visas for all of their players. The federal government does not and has not recognized the Major Arena Soccer League as a major sports league in the United States of America. They have certain signposts and guidelines that they use to determine whether you are big league or not. And some of those are things such as total revenue, such as the salaries of the players, all sorts of things, number of full-time employees. There's all kinds of different things that they can use to evaluate this. And ultimately, they've done these evaluations year in and year out because these applications are being submitted year in and year out. And the MASL has failed to get to that standard. And because of that, you've got these guys, Ponce, Pollo, Munoz. How about Gonzalez, the striker Gonzalez for Chihuahua and Monterrey? Edgar Gonzalez, Edgar Torres Gonzalez. So many guys that are great players. The Rojo brothers, Brandon, guys who should be stars in this league, have been stars in this league. Temporary visa they got expires. They can't get it renewed. They're stuck in Mexico. They don't have the ability to play. Well, hey, look at this. There's one team in Mexico. Well, now that team becomes by de facto a Mexican all-star team within the restraints that they don't spend the big kind of salary money that's going to allow them to truly get every great player in Mexico to come and play for them and move out of their hometown and move out of their situation for the course of a season. So there's still that barrier, and that's the type of barrier that the government's looking at. Can players just go live full-time in a country on the money that they're making in this league? And if the answer is no, they're making comparatively very little, it's going to be very difficult. Right. Revenues over 10 million a year. I appreciate you putting that up there, not for us to read it, but just to note that, look, it's all there, right? Like there's all types of barriers, and the NWSL has to go through this, and USL Championship has to go through this, MLS goes through this, all of these leagues go through this, and MASL has not been able to overcome these. And maybe they need to add a theatrical ice skating production, which looks like maybe a late kicker there. If they could just maybe solve that and do MASL on ice, and this is how you loop Canada in. You get the theatrical ice skating production going, and then they just happen to be soccer players too. So,
has the MASL asked Emma for help here? Need help? No, bottom right.
They've actually tried to create their own Emma SL, and it hasn't worked out yet. But they're still workshopping it. It's going to be the AI behind fan club in a week or two, I'm sure. Coming soon. So that's the situation, and it sucks. And when Monterey comes back, they'll have a great team. Monterey, every time there's a national election, they take a year off. Like they've done it twice now. Sonora did that back when it was in play. It took a year off because their donors went to political instead of flowing it through the sports team. And then they come back. So when Monterey comes back, they're going to have another team that can go undefeated again. Like it'll happen just like that. Like boop, they're going to be back to being the best team, and Chihuahua will also be the best team, and they'll be the co-favorites to win. And Monterey got upset last year in the playoffs, and hats off to KC. And because of that, Chihuahua won again. Otherwise, maybe Monterey would have won, but it was going to be a Mexican team that won last year. And 3 years in a row, Chihuahua's been the top opponent, and the Sockers have been their top opponent, so to speak, as well. But, Chihuahua's been that team for 3 years. One time the Sockers got him, twice Chihuahua's got him. Now this is the fourth year of it, so it's not going to change. The league could write that you can only have United States teams or United States and Canada teams. They could do that if they wanted to do that, and it would eliminate the advantage that Chihuahua or Monterey has. Or they could find a way to monetize and grow and reinvest and find ownership that can reinvest and build and build and build and get to the point where it is a recognized league, and that to the point where the Mexican stars could filter out and one could be on each of 16 teams, around the league, and things could even out. That to me is more of the larger version ecosystem look at why this happens, as opposed to like soccer's bad, signing players, just one game, no good. Why? Bad. Cheat. Why bad? Cheat. Like, what do you want these guys to do? They have no place to play. They're just sitting around doing whatever.
Yeah.
They're back to living their own lives. And then they get a chance to come out and make some money to play a game. Like, they're going to do that every time. They're playing cash tournaments on the weekend anyway.
Yeah, and it's the reality too of just this area as well. Like, this is a story that you see in people who are not, MASL professional players. It's people who are really in any area and profession who are trying to get that visa, who are depending on this and depend on these things to be able to have a livelihood in general. But if where else than San Diego, a place that has so many experts to do this, and if you can't get it done here in the Southern California area, I mean, I don't know what immigration lawyers are like in Utica or Milwaukee, but I think there's a concentration down here in Southern California that are ready to go and ready to help as well. But it's just a very difficult reality that the MASL faces in general. So, I mean, it's a much larger problem than you're saying of just, hey, soccer's decided to do this. Hey, did Brandon miss his bus to go over to go renew? No, that's not what happens. Like, he didn't miss anything. Like, it's just a matter of, this is the factual unfortunate situation that they find themselves in.
Right. And yeah, the whole thing stinks. Juan Manuel Rojo is a good young player that should, if he's not playing here, he should be playing somewhere. He shouldn't be not playing because he can't play for us. Big Rojo, my goodness. He's all MASL the instant he plays in the league. We saw it. Anytime you watched him play, you're like, if you gave this kid a system where he got the ball, as opposed to what the Sockers always did, which was making the seventh defender, or the sixth defender to run out there once every 5 shifts. Like, if you ever gave him the ball, he was obviously going to score 20 goals. He was obviously going to have the strongest shot in the league. And he's just one of the unstoppable weapons. If you score, you play, right? Like, he's one of those guys. He scores, he plays. So it stinks that they're down there not being able to play. And it stinks that it could come down to a game where you're counting on people who haven't been a part of the team all year. But that very well could be the case as we transition to, let's take a look at the standings. As a reminder, there you see your top 8. Top 8 make it. You're going to go 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, 4v5, single elimination. Winners square off. 1 point gap for the Stars. I have predicted Tacoma to rally to that 8th spot. St. Louis could make a late run, maybe. Taiyu Power, I don't know. They're playing a little better. I think the final 2 are set.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
All of these teams are playing terribly, by the way. Look at that. Minus 25, the best of the lot for the 2-11 Harrisburg Heat.
Yikes. It's just yikes.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the 5-11 Dallas Sidekicks currently in 8th place.
That's
Also
a
minus 36.
That's a playoff line if I've ever seen one.
That's why I think Tacoma is going to muscle their way into that. Just Chris has been hurt though. I hope he gets back healthy. But if he does, he and Pereira will be enough by themselves. They'll just knuckle down and get enough points down the stretch and dig out 8th place. I think that'll happen. A little bit of a cushion there, and then you've got your middle pack. Who shall be the opponents for the top 4? For all their success. Well, Utica, one thing they've had lucky with Kelvin away so long, look at that. Only 12 matches played.
Yeah.
They're at the halfway point when a lot of teams are already at 16 played. So that 22-point total is a little bit deceiving. You could theoretically add 12 to that and have them at 34 at 16. And let's see what that would put them at in the current standings. I would put them, I believe, in 2nd place, wouldn't it? Yeah. It would.
Yeah, right there.
So Utica's got a deceptively low record right now. Those 4 matches in hand are very important. They're plus 16. They have not played particularly well at home, which is interesting. Maybe an argument against the ribbon. No, I'm kidding.
Bring back the Riggies.
Riggies only. Cracked me up when they brought in that. I don't know if I watched a little bit of Utica at Texas. I can't blame you if you didn't watch this. Anyone. No one should have. But they brought in some poor guy who clearly hadn't done anything. I mean, like, hey, come announce this game. And he's like, what's this league? What's this? And so to his credit, he obviously did some research earlier in the week before they had switched back to Utica City FC. And like, for at least the first half, he just called them the Riggies as they ran around out there in their FC kids.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, and the Riggies. And he had some very unique ways to pronounce Oliveira and other names. I think he actually wound up with like 5 or 6 syllables for Oliveira. But, I mean, 4 is still a lot to begin with. So, nonetheless, Utica, deceptive at 6.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, chugging right along. That plug-in, chugging Milwaukee Wave team. We'll see them coming up this weekend. Good team at home, 5-1-2. Well, solid on the road then. They've got 4 wins, 2 losses. So it's not terrible for Milwaukee. We'll take them seriously, of course, coming up on Saturday on Star Wars night, reveal to come. Okay, but just look overall. Savage won, great chance they finished there, right? Like, one argument against, I guess you could make, is that they only have 2 more home matches.
Yeah, but that also gives them more experience and more time outside of Corner Sport Arena to adjust to the lifestyle and time that they will have to eventually come up and play at Front Wave Arena. So double-edged sword there, I think.
True. true. But if you give him the 6 points just for that, and you put him at 46 with 5 road matches, I think if you go and parse out where those road matches are for Chihuahua, I think you can give him a very safe path to number 1. It's not impossible for them to be overtaken, but I don't think it's that likely. One of those 2 home games are against the Sockers, so if the Sockers were to come out and take 3 points, that would be a way for San Diego to chart their own path to number 1. San Diego still has 2 matches in hand. However, take a look, 3 and 4, the Comets and Blast both have 2 matches in hand on San Diego and sit 1 and 3 points behind them. So both teams could effectively be ahead of San Diego once you look at an evened out standings where everyone's at 15 games. So in that sense, San Diego is a second place that's kind of a fourth place. And it would be Milwaukee with a chance on Sunday to drive themselves closer to a fourth place possibility along the way. Utica has games to catch up, but if they did, they could rocket up the standings and make things confusing. And then there's Empire bringing up the goalkeeper, Brian Orozco, scoring an overtime game winner against Baltimore.
Yeah.
Anua's trying to change the game a little bit. He's bringing the TST strategy and just really implementing it full time. And I think it's a fascinating soccer experiment for a pretty, I think it's pretty clear, a pretty bang average, Empire team, but one that, would you love to face that in one game playoff? Would it be something you'd adore doing, facing that trick strategy? I think at least it's going to be if they play right, it's going to be a low scoring game. So very interesting, very interesting. And it just leads to the one question I wanted to ask, which is kind of the devil's bargain. Because it was just a week ago that we discussed what it looked like when the Sockers played a back-to-back. How difficult it is to see the Sockers through a playoff back-to-back if everyone's going to start both games. It's going to be hard. But also, if the Sockers finish in second place or finish in first place and Chihuahua finishes in second place, you eliminate the opportunity to face Chihuahua in a 1-game here in San Diego set. You will miss them. And therefore, if you advance and they don't get upset, you're going to face them at Corner Sport Arena in the finals. And you might have to be there for the championship where they've won it twice in a row now. So there's almost an argument. I don't know that there is, but there's almost an argument to be made that fourth place holds a value potentially equal or greater than second place, because fourth place, yeah, you're going to face a difficult team, Milwaukee, maybe Utica, maybe a Kansas City falls down there, who knows? But then you'd play Chihuahua in a game that they should have the home field advantage, but it would be on your home field. That could be the game that you need right there. Chihuahua's a veteran team too. That could be the game you need, but it would be a back-to-back. By definition of being in the 4-5 game, you'd be playing Friday and then coming back and playing Saturday. So, and Eddie Bear's right. The Savage haven't won at Front Wave yet. That's true, but it's not like they haven't won north of the border, because they have.
Yeah.
I know KC beat them, and that's true. And KC's a tough place to play when that place is full. But I don't look at it as it's impossible. And we've seen them do it when we thought that the home field would matter each of the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Chihuahua does a great job in preparation and really being that team that's lethal in when the lights are the brightest. And they proved it so far in the last 2 seasons. And even the games where the Sockers did end up winning in playoffs, like they still Savage took it to them. Like, it's not an easy victory by any means. But again, this is a dynamic that I really hope that it's not just you and I, Craig, having this discussion as well. Like, I really hope that these discussions are happening with the squad, with Phil, and just every single possibility of this happening, just being prepared for that's all I can ask for, is being prepared for every single possibility and the eventuality that you're still going to have to beat Chihuahua. Regardless, if you want to go ahead and have that aspiration of a Ron Newman Cup championship, you're going to have to beat Chihuahua, whether it's here, whether it's there, whether it's any, like, you're going to have to beat Chihuahua once again at some point. So barring another upset, then you know what, just focus on what you can do to be as prepared as they are going to be, because at the end of it, that's what's really been the difference maker, is the preparation going into playoffs. And Chihuahua has done a great job in that sense.
Yes. And they prepared to win a mini game as well. Is it clear? Is it 100% clear? I'm honestly asking the question that it's not a mini game for game 3. There might be someone in the chat who knows this better than I do. I read the playoff release and it said a 3-game series, but I don't know that it specifically said a 3-game series, 3rd game knockout game. As opposed, because obviously it's a completely different thing if it's a game 1 away, games 2 and 3 at home, both full games, or game 1 at home, game 2 away, game 3 at home, right? Which I'm sure the league wouldn't do because that's too much flights. I bet it's a mini game still. Yeah. Okay. First person in the chat said yes, and I think so. I think so as well. I don't think that it's clear, but maybe it is, and I just missed it along the way. So, Marlisha.
Well, we'll find out.
Conspiracy Lisha.
I like it. Put that tin hat on.
Yeah. That's where the keys are. The keys are mystery. I don't know, but I'm guessing it's the way it was before, because one of the main reasons for that was cost and travel, not competitive advantage gained, lost, or considered. It was cost and travel. So as long as those concerns remain paramount, I believe the result will remain the same as well. It's an interesting discussion. It's kind of a devil's bargain. Do you fight for the shield? Sure, okay, but let's say you drop those 3 points in Chihuahua. Is there a reason to not full bore all the way to the finish and see Baltimore and Kansas City cruise past you, and then be in that number 4 spot and have that chance to have Chihuahua on your home turf, and then, sure, if Chihuahua gets upset by Dallas or by Nick, Nick and Chris, then okay, you can play them for the semis. But come on, I'm not going to count on anyone to do our homework for us. I think that assignment will remain at the end of the year, either way. So, all right, MASL news. Hey, all right, let's finish with a little cherry on top. Guess what I got sent today?
Oh, we got something special?
Yeah, the Star Wars kit. I sent it to you.
I know, I got it. Because it is Star Wars.
Nothing special. Nothing. Yeah, it's Star Wars night. I read the release. It didn't say anything about a kit. It didn't say like kit. And now, having been on the other side of this, that could have been because they didn't promise a delivery date or a date certain. And so right, that's the ad.
Mm-hmm. Looking great, normal blue, classic. All right, fits the aesthetic,
right? But how about the Star Wars ones?
Oh, you mean these right there?
Yeah, those right there. How about that? To be worn on Saturday.
I like it.
I got to guess the goalkeeper's the AT&T Walker. The The second kid is for the keepers.
Yeah, Hoff. Yeah, that's a good defense. They defended well against the Empire that was coming and really showcasing that they had some firepower of their own. But it took the strategy of Luke Skywalker and the mental aspect to really turn the tables here. So I mean, I think I have to go with that. And classic, just New Hope. Like I was looking at this kid for a while, I was just like, wow, that's sick. That's so cool.
That's a really good one. I mean, that's
Yeah.
basically the movie poster. That's basically the original movie poster. I definitely want one of those. So Sockers will be wearing those on Saturday. I don't know if the lightsaber Bam Bam sticks are back. I don't remember those being expensive. Hopefully they're back. I don't know. But these are out. You mean like having Sean Callahan on the match day picture? Or Eli Zamora at the front of Soccer's Nation? biggest single picture you see of a player like all game long.
Oh, man.
Cracks me up every time.
I love it.
Indeed,
but no,
indeed.
Part of the fun. And I love Star Wars night, kids, and just Star Wars night in general for Sockers. It's a fun time out there. People get pumped. First one in Oceanside. Yeah. We'll see if there's an appetite in Oceanside for Star Wars and that apparel. I hope so. I really hope so. They've been doing great. The fans have been great. I'll just say that. The fans have been doing fantastic and doing their job at Front Wave Arena.
It kind of blows my mind. Can I be honest with you guys? Like, there's been many a time, like 25, 20 minutes before the game, that I've looked around to Tony and said, like, there's 50 people here. Like, there's nothing, like there's no one here. And then I look around, 2 minutes into the first quarter, and it feels like the place is full. And at least the north side is like legitimately full all the time. And even when I look back at the highlights and see where there's some spaces, like they've really drawn some pretty good crowds at Front Wave Arena.
Yeah.
So
it's loud. It's not just
yes.
passive fans. Like, they're in the game. Like, they are in it. And that's what I appreciate, is that they are smart fans who are giving the opposition the business in a respectful way, giving them the business the whole game. And I that's literally just the seventh player out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I've been really, really impressed with the crowds. I mean, on a Sunday night, to see a really big crowd up at Front Wave Arena, I mean, yeah, you can say that the far stands are 40% full, but the near stands are pretty full, pretty full overall. They're doing quite a good job of drawing fans, and it's been impressive. It's been impressive to see. So I'm really glad to see that. I always thought it would be a curiosity. Is it going to be a challenge to draw fans up there? Is it a challenge to retain fans? I mean, I've certainly seen all y'all's, comments in the chat and complaints over the course of the year about certain things. I've seen it online. I've seen it on the MASL Off the Wall. I've also seen a lot of good crowds there. So I'm impressed, and I hope it continues. And there you go. Ticket Rep's doing a good job getting the youth clubs out there. I like it. It's great to see. And the bigger, the better it'll be for everyone. And certainly the better it'll be for the Sockers. That's for sure. If things continue to go well at Front Wave Arena. They started off into the fall with Sockers, with Clippers. I know the Strike Force will be along. Maybe that'll be good too. I don't know. But hopefully they've got a lot of concerts. They've got the CIF championships coming up. The Open Championships for basketball are going to be there. That's exciting. Hopefully someday they'll have all the CIF indoor championships there. All the volleyball, everything else. And that'll be awesome. Maybe the Mojo will go there eventually, Big Mojo fan, by the way. I love the Mojo.
100%. best
5-match losing streak. Mojo Hart is bleeding blue right now. 5-match losing streak. A lot of straight sets. It's not all is well in Mojo Land right now, but that's a different podcast. It's a different
we might need to start that actually. Saneo.football /
Voleibol.
Voleibol. It's in Spanish too, by the way, Craig. Sorry. El mojo. That's
okay.
Mojo Jojo's name in Spanish. Mojo. Just from Powerpuff Girls. Just throwing it out there. Right? Absolutely.
So let's wrap with the match preview. Those are the kits. Milwaukee in town. They're the team. Milwaukee San Diego matches here have been pretty one-sided in favor of San Diego in the recent past. New year, who knows? Let's see what happens with the Wave, a team that did have, and I saw Kelsey noted earlier, a shocking home loss to Texas.
Yeah.
They lost to Texas at home. Like, how did that happen? And all I got to do was look at the stats of it, and I mean, they were behind. They rallied and scored in the last minute or last few seconds to tie the game, and then they lost anyway.
With Texas,
How?
Texas won that game. Wave,
Yeah,
certainly lost it. Certainly lost that game, but Texas won.
Yeah, they did. Texas won. Well, maybe it's a David Stankovic thing. It's a David Ortiz thing. I don't know, but that was wild. So the Wave, stub toe. Definitely always great to see in Bennett. Alex Sanchez is a great player. Max Ferdinand has always been one of the top distributors around. William Bonahene is a very, very good shot stopper, very athletic. Oh, geez, David Ortiz wasn't there, Kelsey. What happened? Did you wear a Outlaws jersey to the match, and that's why they lost? Oh, okay. So it's Max's fault then. Got it. All right. Nonetheless, I think Milwaukee's a good team. They just haven't matched up well against San Diego in the past, whether it was the playoffs, whether it's when we've gone there, when they come here. It just it hasn't been a great matchup for Milwaukee, but you can't look past them. They're a solidly coached team. They've got good veteran depth, and I think they'll be a difficult team to face. Nonetheless, Max Ferdinand, because he took a red card, won't be in San Diego. Got it. So sorry. Just trying to get to the root causes here. I still can't believe that result. That result blows my mind. When I saw it, I was like, what? I was just guessing how many goals Milwaukee would score that day against Texas goalkeeper Jesus Rivera, not that Texas would actually win the game. So San Diego, another concerted effort. Taylor Bond coming back. That's another big thing. I think Taylor brings a lot of energy to this team. I think Ben brings a lot of energy to this team. I think he's a really fundamental player who helps stay positioned at times when some of our more adventurous defenders can get a little out of position from time to time. So I think things augur well for San Diego. I don't know that they've ever lost in a Star Wars night. Feels like they always win on these nights. Have we ever lost in a Star Wars night?
Not that I personally recall, but I'm frightened to go look at the actual stat in case that's true, and in which case then it's jinx.
I remember there being one close match, one that was close, and then Farber headed in and empty netter, and then he did the Jedi Lightning at it, and it was the Empire has won. I think that was against a team that later changed its name to Empire to try and fix the situation.
Yeah, that must be curious.
Exactly. So we'll see how it all plays through. I like the direction of the club overall. I think you throw out Chihuahua results. what are you going to do? And you just want to avoid making that a part of your championship win condition. And that's why I brought up the whole thing under MASL News. Yeah, get a little more depth, but you bring back guys like Taylor that pushes Christian into a different role. That gives him a chance to be more of a defender. That allows, so they've had a nice cycle in of some guys getting back, getting healthy, and I think it's going to overall lead to a very strong team down the stretch. Now they're going to play a lot more road games, including another game in Chihuahua. So, and I'm sure Tacoma's hungry to try and nick them again. Pun intended. But, take care of business here on Star Wars 9 on CBS Golazo Network. And it's a big step forward again for the Sockers to at least stay in that top 4.
It's a good test. It's a good testing. It's a good team. And once again, an opportunity to get a preview of a team that you may see down the line in playoffs. So get to learning, get the notebook out, and be prepared for everything and anything. Just stick to San Diego Soccer's soccer.
And then we will be there for all the action for you. If you're out of market, CBS Sports app, Paramount Plus. I just gave my dad my entry code and was like, here, just do this. Download the app on the TV, open this, you'll get it. It's like, oh, it works great. So that's a way to go. Pluto, it's also on Pluto. Pluto's free. So if you don't have Pluto TV, if you struggle on these, CBS days, we're CBS the rest of the way, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah. It was the last
I don't know for sure that all the doubleheaders in the playoffs will be, it could be YouTube in the afternoon, CBS at night, or whatever. Tomorrow's never promised. Gang, hug your kids. Hug your kids. We'll get to April when we get there. Anyways, that's it for today's show. Want to say thanks to Ben Raymond. Checking in. Thanks to you, Tony, for making it all happen and producing this all for us and putting together everything and always doing it in such a great, quick, and professional manner. Tell everyone how they can support San Diego Punto Football on this action-packed week as San Diego FC veers into existence, taking on Galaxy up in Carson on Sunday.
Absolutely. Everything and anything soccer in San Diego. San Diego Punto Football, San Diego.football. The 2.0 version of the website is about to come out. It's going to be incredibly fun to do. And anything you want in terms of soccer locally, you can find on Two Balls and a Mic every Monday. And then you can find us on random podcasts this week. Just everybody wants to find out of San Diego FC. We're going to be on PBS soon this week. Just everybody's getting a preview of San Diego football, but always repping those Sockers, making sure everybody remembers who is the number one soccer team in San Diego, Los Sockers.
Who are the champs? That's right. You can hear me Monday through Friday with the Annie and Elston Show on 97.3 The Fan FM, also streaming on the Odyssey app, also streaming here on YouTube on the 97.3 The Fan page. We are a short show on Friday for Padres baseball, but otherwise Monday through Friday, 10 till 2. You can find me on Blue Sky at 619 Sports. You can find me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. Kicks over to Facebook. I don't use it very much, and I get all kinds of horrible those weird message requests and such. I think Meta is a pretty foul place. But anyways, final digression of the night. Tony, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. See you on Saturday.
Have a good one. I love that.
For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you out at Front Wave Arena. Talk to you next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And in between, remind you to go Sockers.